Right?
I don't have to come in and go, which voice should I use? Is this the sports voice? Or is this the sports voice? I don't know. I don't have to decide.
I just use the same voice with everything I do.
No.
The same voice with everything I do.
Are you a 1970s ad narrator? Like,
yes, when I go to order a pizza, yes, I'll have a large number. They don't do numbers with pizza, do they? I'll have a large cheese with sideburns.
Tennessee's playing Texas A&M.
Yeah.
The Texas A&M play-by-play guy, I have to believe that he doesn't actually talk like how he announces the games. You're listening to Texas A&M over at Kyle Field. And you're just like, wait, does he really talk like that? He can't really talk like that. Nobody talks like that except him, apparently. It's bizarre.
They got Bugs Bunny to do their play-by-play.
Kyle Field.
Well, it's me, Kyle. There's a guy that they did a prank call to ages and ages ago on a particular Sirius satellite radio show, if you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, he was on Tradio, and he was like the most old school radio guy like ever on the planet. He goes, and it's another Tuesday here on Tradio. Like no human ever talks like that, but that dude does.
Oh man,
it's one of those tropes that just exists.
When did radio voices become a thing, or broadcasting voices? Really,
I listened to like some of the earliest radio broadcasts I've ever listened to. They have that what they call the North Atlantic accent, you know, like FDR had, right? 1941, you know, all that stuff.
Yes,
they all talk like that. So if they're narrating like a car race, but car number 1 is in the front while car number 2 is directly behind, and the dude's from like Arkansas and he talks like that, you know, like come on.
There's nothing. Yeah, see, because now I said it's going to be weird. There's nothing funny about it, but like the Hindenburg disaster, the way that the guy is, the accent is that same accent, and it's just
it's on fire. The blimp is on fire.
He sounds distressed, but he's still using the broadcast voice. And yeah, it's not too soon, right? In Hindenburg.
No, go ahead.
I'm just, you know. Because
they actually that tape of him, that wax cylinder of him is actually sped up by like 20%.
Really
slowed down. He's like at the real speed. He's got a pretty deep voice actually.
That is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those like mind blowing things you find out.
Because I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, you're hearing it wrong, and they keep playing it wrong all the time.
Just stop that.
I know, like History Channel's like, and here we have the presentation of the Hindenburg disaster that we've completely altered and messed with.
That, you know, not intended in any way to seem humorous in any way, but it will, because this man is like, if you played everybody at Alvin the Chipmunk speed, then yeah, things are going to sound funny that aren't funny.
Remember Chipmunk songs on YouTube that people would do? Chipmunk version by me. Cut my life in 2 pieces.
That was 2004 YouTube.
YouTube wasn't around in 2004.
No, 2004. 2005.
There you go.
YouTube. That was like the most entertaining thing that you could find on YouTube then.
That and like Linkin Park Dragon Ball Z videos.
That's true. Which is all of them.
Gohan powering up to Super Saiyan 2, while in the end it doesn't even matter, you know, plays the background.
All of the best of Goku to Linkin Park.
Oh my gosh.
And it would be an 8-minute long video.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
7 minutes would be Goku just yelling.
That and like Vegeta and Goku merging so they could beat up Majin Buu. Remember that?
I do remember that. But like that was everybody's favorite moment, and I was like, okay, but we watched it on TV.
We saw it on Toonami. You don't got to do it again.
And we have 23 YouTube videos, and it's
in 240p, so you can watch it on your Java phone.
Right. Goku and Vegeta, awesome fight. Awesome Goku and Vegeta fight. And you're just like, oh no.
Updated 2007 edition. When we came on, we were talking about news tropes.
And it's one of those things that you don't notice until you do, and then you can't stop seeing it everywhere.
Especially if you're in the business like we are. You can't help but notice it, because no one in news is a normal person when they're on the air. Like, I'm not. You know, your news voice is not your real voice. But you see
not
somebody
even close.
No, you listen to my newscast, you can't tell it's me, and that's half the point.
I mean, it does sound like you,
Vaguely.
but it doesn't sound anything like conversing with you.
No.
Like talking to you is a different thing than what it is that you sound like.
Well, I should hope so. Like, there's a deadly crash on East 3rd Street. You see that? Also, there's a fundraiser that the sheriff is doing. They're trying to get school resource officers into schools.
Oh,
so that's yeah.
This is a fascinating conversation. Just riveting.
See, that would be the news if I talked to my normal voice. It'd be terrible. So that's why I don't do that.
Fair enough. But okay, so Hurricane Matthew is at the doorstep of Florida,
barreling towards South Florida,
and of course, if you've been watching, whatever news place that you watch, we have Fox News on at the station. They have the reporter who is knee high in the Atlantic Ocean, in the hurricane, basically.
Yeah, he's standing right like in the eye of the storm, it seems.
And he's reporting on it.
Shouting with a yellow, raincoat that's flying in his eyes he can't see, and he's going like this, and he's holding the microphone. There's like debris flying past him. But your point was,
why does he do this? In what way does he become more credible by actually being in the hurricane?
There is no reason for him to be there.
If he is standing by a window with it happening outside, if he's on a patio, he is still credible.
Yeah.
If he is inside a studio with, let's say, a weather graphic behind him, like what weathermen usually do when there's no storm happening, he's still credible because he knows more about the storm than I do. And that's all that I want.
My favorite part is when he's like their New York correspondent for weather, and they flew him down like a week early. Like you follow his Twitter and he's got vacation pictures in Boca Raton, and then the next week he's covering the hurricane. It's like, dude, you're a reporter in New York.
And trust me, he wishes very much that he were still in New York. There's no place that he would rather be than away from that storm.
Maybe they have some sick masochistic thrill. The only way they can get off is by standing inside like horrible tornadoes.
The weather has just ceased to entertain them ages ago.
Yeah, it's like wartime reporters. Like, why, dude?
I have no idea. I went on the CNN tour in Atlanta.
Oh,
and
cool.
They have the Hummer, the news Hummer that they have, and like the helmets that the reporters wear.
Yeah, and
it's just the silliest thing.
Well, we use one of those when we go down to Orchard Knob.
Oh, oh,
that's our news Hummer. That's our news Hummer.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to offend people.
I do.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I don't care. They'll just shoot me and prove my point.
Well, fair enough.
It might not be Chicago, but it's close enough. We start with the same two letters.
Donald Trump thinks it all is Chicago. So you're not, as a wartime reporter, you're not more credible because you're actually on the battlefield. Like there's the CNN videos of the Iraqi war where there are bullets flying past. I don't remember the name of the reporter that they sent down there, and he's just hiding behind like sandbags, trying not to be hit with bullets, and he's trying to like explain what's happening. You don't have to do that.
Well, you don't remember, but in the first Gulf War, they had CNN reporters in a hotel that was being shelled.
Correct.
And that was like the whole big deal. It's like, yeah, we got these reporters in a hotel that's being shelled, and we're going to go live to them. He's like, yes, I think we're going to die in the next 10 minutes, but here's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing shells hitting my building, and I might die soon.
This is different from the wartime reporting of World War II.
No, because you're like World War II. They had to be there because how else are you going to know what's going on?
We have cameras. We can see you from so far off.
Yeah.
None of this is necessary.
Just a satellite feed.
Like to be in a hotel being bombed, that's just bad journalism.
I don't know if
you can't gather information if you're dead.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. I was going to say I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be the dude who's like the guinea pig for that. It's like we're going to send over our war correspondent, Jimmy, who used to be an intern.
Right.
And now he's been promoted to war correspondent.
And then Jimmy drew a got promoted to wartime correspondent.
Jimmy messed up my copy again. And so he's going off to cover ISIS. I imagine that's how that happened. Now, and I mean, no offense to anyone who's actually a wartime reporter. We're having a bit of fun, but
no, wartime reporting is difficult work. I just think that we need you to gather information. That's what reporters do. I don't need to see the actual bombs falling behind you. If you want to go and get video of the bombs falling, that's credible enough. I don't need to see it actually happening near you to go, oh, yeah, no, he's not lying.
You can film from a distance, dude.
That's not a movie set. He's there. Got it.
Well, someone will still say it's a movie set.
Right. Well, there's no appeasing most people there on that front. But nothing makes you more insane than going into the most dangerous place to give us some information you could have given us safely.
It's like, man, did you know that there is a war going on in Iraq? It's like, no, I didn't. Well, I got to take you there to prove it to you.
Yeah, come on, get over here.
Why aren't you here yet?
I like safety.
You don't know there's a war if you haven't seen it for yourself.
With your own two eyes. Get your hands in the dirt.
How do you know, man? You know nothing. And by the way, to explain my my Orchard Knob comment, a good friend of mine, who is the whitest person I've ever known, lived on Orchard Knob, and I hung out at his house all the dang time. So I know for a fact Orchard Knob is pretty safe, actually.
Our church is there.
Yeah, I mean, we see, the thing is, we always used to joke about how dangerous it was, because it obviously, wasn't. The real dangerous part of town is obviously where the aquarium is. Because you can drown. Fall in and drown.
You fall into the shark tank, but drown.
Yeah, well, you might get eaten or drown.
Fair enough. Like the giant crabs at the aquarium.
Oh my gosh. The eels, too.
They terrify me.
Yeah. The freaking snakes. It's an aquarium. You don't need snakes.
Absolutely not.
No. Get rid of that.
Please make these things go away. I want to see fish. When I came to the aquarium, I wanted to see fish. That's all I wanted to see. I wanted to see fish. I wanted to see things that had fins. Giant crabs and snakes do not have fins, and I am not interested in any way.
I was really disappointed when my mom took me to the Air Force Museum in Ohio. She was very vague about it. She said, we're going to take you to see things that have fins. I was like, oh, boy. I thought it was an aquarium. It was the Air Force Museum. I was really mad. But then I got to see an SR-71 Blackbird, so it was okay.
Yeah, and all sins were forgiven. So another news trope that is just ridiculous is, at least in sports, the sideline reporter.
I have no experience with this, so you're going to have to enlighten me.
We don't need them anymore. This is what sideline reporters do.
Yeah.
In the pregame and in the postgame, they tell us stuff courtside.
Oh, okay. So they just like stand there like, the game's going on really good right now. LeBron James shot a few balls in the air.
Correct.
Okay.
They interview the coach before halftime, and also at the post game, they'll interview whoever was the star player of the game. And they only have enough time to really ask two questions. And it's always the same series of questions about, well, your defense looked bad. How can you be better? Your defense looked good. What made it good? And the coaches always give you the same 6 answers. Why do we need to see the sideline reporter ask the coach this question?
Yeah, they're kind of like the advisors in SimCity. You just don't need them.
You don't.
Get rid of them.
You have 2 people in the broadcast booth who are already giving you information, sometimes from the sideline.
Yeah.
Why does the sideline reporter need to be on the sideline? There's no reason for them to be on the sideline.
Especially nowadays with drones and stuff. Like you could just replace the sideline reporter with an Android nowadays. Just have like little, R2-D2 go out there and film the coach.
Basically, I'm not even saying eliminate the reporter. Like if the reporter gathers the information, I get that. Why we need to see them do it?
Yeah, I mean, like lots of people start out as sideline reporters and turned out to be really cool. Like Christine Leahy on Colin Cowherd was a sideline reporter.
Right.
NBA, I think. Sideline reporter?
I think she was with the Lakers.
Okay. Or I think she did football too. She's done like everything at some point.
No, she's a very talented person.
And she did American Ninja Warrior, which is more than I could ever do.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with that.
I watched that show and I am very confused. I'm entertained at least, but I'm very confused.
Why is he rolling along on a log? I don't know, but it shows how strong he is.
Somehow.
This strong man.
Okay. But where it gets really, really weird with sideline reporters is, well, there's no other way to say this. When they're men, like clearly,
it is kind of awkward.
A lot of places are showing the sideline reporter because it's usually an attractive woman,
like Christine Leahy, actually.
But when it's a guy, and it's never just like oh, that's a good looking guy. It's like, and if you watch the NFL on Fox, you know who I'm talking about. It's like Tony Siragusa. He's very round and very large, and he just yells at the camera.
That sounds like a character from Street Fighter. It's like Ryu Hayabusa.
And then something's happened on the Atlanta sideline. Goose, tell us what's happening. I mean, I don't want to see Tony Siragusa.
Goose.
That's his nickname, and I don't know why they use it.
That's like from the Goonies, man. You can't call somebody Goose if they're over the age of like 15. What is this, the Sandlot?
Yeah, Tony Siragusa needs to find whoever.
Just call him Tony.
His name is Tony. He's a grown man named Tony. He needs to find somebody and just walk up to them and go, "You're not calling me Goose anymore."
Flip a table and jump over it.
Like he just lost a bet or was just being hazed and just never let it stop.
It's like, was it the Chris Everett thing? The guy, the football player, whatever, got all upset because the dude kept calling him the name of like a tennis player.
I don't recall exactly why it was that it made him mad, but it was Jim Rome and Jim Everett, and then he called him Chris Everett for whatever reason, and Jim Everett was having none of it, flipped the table and attacked Jim Rome.
That was one of the first YouTube videos I recall watching, by the way. It was like, 2007 news bloopers or something like that, and I watched. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's mad.
I used to listen to Jim Rome all the time. So what ended up happening was, like, I would look up his stuff on YouTube, and then one day it got recommended to me. And that was the funniest thing that ever happened. But Jim Rome is just a giant troll. Like, that is his existence in sports, really.
Yeah.
But not to get too far off the subject, because another news trope, like if you're going with the sideline reporter has got to be a woman, like female reporters could not be more objectified in the news.
on any station, too. It's not just, look at Fox. No, it's CNN and MSNBC, too, and you know it.
Yeah, I think people give Fox a lot of flack for that, but no, MSNBC is possibly like one of the biggest offenders of it. Like, they pretty much have on their channel like a bunch of men, and when it is a woman, it's a woman that you just could not possibly imagine doing anything else other than modeling.
And here's our political correspondent, Kate Upton.
Right. But why?
Here we have Carly Kloss to talk about computer programming.
Right, and she's never wearing normal clothes.
No, it's like the worst. This is the oddest business suit you've ever seen. Like, where do you buy that? Like, the Victoria's Secret sells business suits now?
Like, if you were on Wall Street and you were a woman and you went to a meeting like that, unless somehow you were finding a way to
they hired you to show up like that.
Yeah, like Wolf of Wall Street. That's what you would be doing.
Yeah.
You would not be coming to work for them.
Keon, if you show up dressed like that, I'm going to be... I don't know what I'd feel, actually. Yeah. I should show up to work dressed like that one of these times. I'll show up in like a business suit, but it's got like a V-neck and big old shoulder pads and be like, hey, Keon, what's up?
Deep V?
Yeah. Oh, hey, man, what's up?
That would be upsetting. I'm not going to lie.
You ready to talk about the news?
That would be very upsetting.
I'll do that the whole day, and no one will notice because it's radio. No one will know.
Well, you'll tell people what they're missing on YouTube.
Shoot, man, you can go on YouTube right now, and you can watch Two Millennials Talk. This is the first podcast edition, I should point out.
Yeah, you can listen to us later.
Yeah, it's shocking, actually. We're going to post a link to it on our Facebook page whenever we figure out where we're actually going to host it, because I don't actually know yet. Yeah,
that's the hard part. But
yeah, podcasting's hard, man.
It exists in a place.
Especially when we don't have, like, there's money floating around here, but they don't give us any of it to do file hosting.
Unfortunately.
So
do we have to beg?
I think we should. Like, please, owner, give us money.
Give us some money for file hosting.
Give us insert owner's name here. Money for file hosting. Please, sir, can I have some more? Can I have a gigabyte or two?
Here's your gig. And I didn't finish the laugh, but I remember
I was waiting for it.
I was watching or listening to a podcast called Podcasting for Dummies.
Oh, appropriate.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to learn how to podcast. And they had all of this cool information. And one of their episodes was on pod fading, which is when you start a podcast, but then you just kind of fade away after a while. You don't ever finish making the podcast, or you don't continuously release episodes, so you lose your audience.
No, we have no option.
We don't have an option. They did.
This is our job.
They pod faded.
What?
the podcast about how you make podcasts pod faded.
That's like Reagan becoming communist. That should never happen.
It in a perfect world it wouldn't. But of course,
Stalin goes, I've decided capitalism is the best course of option.
We live in the universe where that happened.
Oh gosh, this is Berenstein universe crap again.
No, yeah. I knew I was going to drag it in here somehow.
I have to. It's my only shtick. It's the only joke I can make.
So we're going to come back. It's two millennials talk here on Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, the first podcast edition. We'll be back next.
Hot News Talk 1240 AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. Hot News Talk 1240. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Diesel Off-Road Technology Saudi Daisy for your four-wheel drive and truck needs. Stuff and upholstery with premium rubber foam. Amigos Mexican Restaurant next to Staples and Hickson. Drink specials during the race. Cell Surgeon, the Broken Screen Doc. And Shooter's Supply, 4824 Hickson Pike in Hickson. Hot News Talk 1240. Enter your guesses now and listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Hot News Talk 1240. I love NASCAR. You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now. 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
This is Mike at For the Record at Northgate Mall. We're the largest complete record store in town. We sell old and new vinyl records, celebrity posters, music posters, and we are the largest in town. Come see us.
Expect mostly clear skies to continue through the nighttime. Comfortable again overnight, lows into the upper 50s. For Friday, into the warm, dry day with lots of sun highs well into the 80s. For the weekend, slowly cooling down, breezy on Saturday with highs closer to 80. Get your fall fix with huge savings right now at Lowe's, where you'll find great deals on everything you need to get your home in shape for the season. So hurry in today to make your home happy all season long at Lowe's. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. A woman was gunned down in cold blood on 7th Avenue, left to die in the street. She was taken in a personal vehicle to the hospital where she expired. Police are still trying to track down a suspect. The victim has not yet been identified. A woman on East 28th Street said she was unloading her kid from her car when a young man walked up with a gun, demanded her cash. When she handed it over, he sped off in a black Impala. Police eventually tracked him down in a church parking lot and arrested him, where he admitted to his involvement in that crime and also running away from police. He's an 18-year-old young man. $750,000 of federal cash are going to be granting the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office the ability to issue 6 new SROs, school resource officers, to different Hamilton County schools around the area. The sheriff says the SROs are not just there to act as policemen, but also as mentors and leaders in the school. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Like us on Facebook and get us on the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone.
For Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops the right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Fox News Talk 1240. The voice of NASCAR.
I miss this music.
It's from Snatcher, Sega CD game by Hideo Kojima. Same dude. Obviously, used to sing GNU Linux. Same dude who did Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And, Metal Gear, everything else.
Kojima-san.
He did very kawaii kind of guy. He, it's actually public domain now. Like, it's actually abandonware, so we're totally cool to use the music from it. Interestingly enough. The Sega CD version, anyway.
I might have to steal some of that.
Go ahead, dude. It's free.
Because I want to do the fantasy football show, and I feel like this might work.
You're doing a fantasy football show?
Sab allowed me to do a fantasy football show.
Really?
Yeah.
No one told me about it. No one tells me anything, dude.
It's on Sunday. I don't know why I assume that he would have told you. I did ask him just yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like a...
Well, I found out 2 hours ago. Why didn't you know?
So I assume that like the news would have gotten to you at some point today.
No. Well, I haven't barely talked to him today. He probably would have told me if I talked to him for any extent of time.
Gotcha.
So that's our boss, by the way, for those of you who don't know. He goes by Confederate Mike normally because he's an interesting person.
Because he's an interesting person. And he says things...
he's a very cool guy, very understanding guy, but he's a little bit out there sometimes.
And his voice is what it is that does it. Because like he says normal, reasonable things loudly. So then you're just like, am I in trouble or no?
That's just him being a broadcaster of like a bajillion years.
Yes.
The dude, like he tells me stuff. He's like, yeah, I set up a one of my first radio stations that I owned in 1996. I was like, dude, I was 1 year old back then. It was kind of weird.
I was 6.
Ha, old man.
Oh boy.
And it's funny because this is Two Millennials Talk. I'm Russell and
I'm Keon Rose.
Thank you. And you are not much older than me, but sometimes it seems like it, just based on our experiences.
There is. It's weird, right? Because you talk about generations and the gap in between them.
And the cyber age is just so blown out.
In one generation, there's a very large gap for some reason. And like we're in the same generation.
Yeah, with like no separation. Basically.
Well, I mean, because it's 5 years.
That's not that big.
That is half a decade. Like if we remain friends going on into the future, and I'm 40 and you're 35, no one's gonna look at you and go, kid.
Right? Yeah.
There's a level that like that is not a very large gap, and yet somehow, like I feel just eternally old, and I don't know. And I do have some other friends that are in their early 20s.
Yeah.
I feel ancient.
Sorry, man. I can run without complaining about my knees.
Man.
I don't need a walker yet, like you.
I complained about my knees when I was 20. I ruined them a long time ago.
I continually ruin my knees, but I had I'm young enough that I had cybernetics done already, so I've got titanium knee replacement surgery.
Is that what the kids are into these days?
Yeah, man. All the cyber kids in their net books, they're all doing their those keyboard jockeys and their cybernetic implants. All the net kids are doing it.
Oh man.
All the net kids watching their cyber vids.
I don't know if my legs can hold up, TBH.
Oh, your legs are old crusty AF. Mr. Crust Joints.
No, man. But I have a friend that he's 33 now. He was like, the moment you turn 30, it's over, man. You just feel it. You wake up in the morning and just feel it. And I'm like, I'm 4 years away from 30. Don't tell me that.
Gosh, I still got 9 years to go. I'm all right.
You're a whole decade away.
Yeah.
But don't worry, because I'll be there to laugh at you. When I'm 35,
you'll be dead by then.
And you'll be, oh, that's right. I forgot. 26. 1 foot in the grave already.
27's when everyone died. All the cool people die at 27.
Oh, man. And they're always promising and they're up and coming and it's over.
Think about this. You'll live to be older than Kurt Cobain.
That's pretty nice.
That's kind of cool.
I like how you said his name too.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, that Kurt Cobain.
You may have heard about Kurt Cobain. He's known for his easy cheesy baked potatoes. Kurt Cobain, noted restaurateur.
Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, and easy cheesy baked potatoes.
That sounds like serious. Like, I can't say serious. That sounds like, you're listening to satellite radio and they've got the weird automated voice thing that tells you what song is up next, and it's always like way too chipper for what you're listening to. You listen to like 90s on 9 and you hear touch me, I'm sick, Mudhoney. Like, what? That's not right.
So you're sounding way too chipper, and you're telling me about a 9 Inch Nails song. This is not going well.
Loomer, My Bloody Valentine. No, this ain't right. It just doesn't work that way. You can't do that kind of stuff, man.
So I have a question.
Hit me.
I don't know if it's an answerable question.
Okay.
But I heard a Papa Roach song earlier today. And I want to know.
In real life you did?
In real life.
Oh, no.
And I want to know.
Show me your time machine.
Glen Jean Deli Diner.
Huh?
It's a restaurant up the road here of 153 in Hixson.
Oh, okay. I can't.
And in that restaurant,
I can't afford to eat out.
They play Papa Roach.
What?
It made me reminisce about the days when that song was actually on the radio.
The good old days.
And what I want to know is, how did that actually happen?
Oh, well, that was part of an interesting corporate push. The music industry in the early 2000s was doing this thing where it's like, oh, this new metal thing is really picking up. Bands like Linkin Park are doing really well. This Hybrid Theory album is doing amazingly. We need to put out bands like Papa Roach. And so you had Limp Bizkit with the rap rock, hardcore rap rock. We'll do covers of Michael Jackson. That was Alien Ant Farm, bands like that.
I remember that. And
like the guitar riff thing.
I hated that song so much.
I listened to it like the other day and I was like, this is terribly good. Kid Rock. No, he was like 70s. Kid Rock is as old as my dad, man.
But Kid Rock keeps trying to reinvent himself.
Yeah, he does.
And what he does is he reinvents himself. He sounds like he sounds like whatever genre is popular, and then but vaguely, but mostly right, but mostly like Kid Rock.
Dubstep Kid Rock. He's like, it's me, Kid Rock. Womp womp.
Drop the bass, and then
if he was around in the 90s Eurodance scene, woman singing in the background. Oh, whoa, it's Kid Rock.
Just
dun, 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 Kid Rock. Those are the days. I'm Kid Rock, Dabba Dee.
Dabba Dee, Dabba Die.
Oh, music industry. It's horrible. The current state of music isn't doing too good either.
But every time I look back, like, they're just trends that just get shoved at us.
Well, it's corporate interest. It's like, man, female singers are really good. Look at Adele. Here's Lana Del Rey.
Okay. I've gone on music rants on this show before.
Okay.
And that triggered something inside
me. The vein in your forehead is popping out, dude.
I listened to what is it? Two Lana Del Rey albums ago. I don't remember exactly what it
that was
called.
That was the alternative name of our show, by the way. Was two Lana Del Rey albums.
Two Lana Del Rey albums ago. That album is in my bottom 5 of music I have ever listened to.
No.
It is in the doghouse with me. I hate that album so much.
What's it about? I've never listened to anything of hers.
Her music is she's like the anti-Drake. Like Drake likes to rap about feelings.
How sorry he is to someone.
Right. But at the same time,
I'm sorry I did that.
He keeps the misogyny in the music. Like,
yeah,
he raps about respecting women and all of this stuff and apologizing constantly about whatever it is that he's done this time.
Yeah.
But then he keeps the misogyny in the music.
I still respect that hoe.
Lana Del Rey is like the exact opposite. She's like female empowerment, and that's what she sings about. But then constantly she's in horrible relationships, and it's just like, but you don't respect yourself. And it's very obvious.
Listen,
and then also she can't sing.
Oh, that sucks too.
Like,
listen, half the... Sorry, go ahead. half the chicks I know who are like, rad femme, look how empowered I am, they're always in bad relationships. And I wonder if there's some correlation there, I gotta say. I'm just throwing that one out there. I could be entirely wrong, and I'm open to being wrong. But I'm just throwing that one out there.
Look, it's a distinct possibility that possibly the women who are truly empowered don't just spend time talking about being empowered.
And they're probably smart enough to not get in stupid relationships.
So both of those things.
Yeah.
So the ones that are the loudest are not necessarily the majority or the reality.
Yeah.
But they're just there.
That sounds like a 90s screamo band. The majority, the reality. Not the majority, not the reality. You can't push your lies on me. Do.
Something about the government.
Government lies. 9/11 put us to war in Iraq. I don't know. That was just everything, 3.
Basically, that's the year 2003 musically, minus of course the hip hop, because I feel like rap music in 2003 was very, very obsessed with. Now let's just put all that other stuff to the side and just talk about cars and money.
Cars and money. There's probably a song just called Cars and Money. Paper boy.
All about that paper boy.
It's such a catchy dang song too.
I know.
I hate it.
I know if you're not watching the show Atlanta,
you gotta
watch it. And also, that song is so catchy. Like if I heard that song in real actual life without the context of the show, I'd be mad at its existence.
I would unironically listen to it all day, though. No, I would ironically listen to it all day. Just to be clear.
Right. With all of the intensive irony. But
we're looking at your girlfriend Janelle here. Brought up a page. She's you can't see her on camera. She's too short. There's a song here called "Right There" by Jackpot from 2003. Now, hold on half a sec here. I get you got accents and that's cool, but Cars, Sex, and Money is another song. Also, PIMP, explicit. Ignition by Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka had a failed music career where he wrote songs about, just, Oompa Loompas and stuff. Those Oompa Loompas up in the factory, they be tripping about wanting to get paid any money at all.
These Oompa Loompas straight tripping, yo. Just
what's with these Oompa Loompas, man?
I feel like the Oompa Loompas would be the race that would make rap music.
I don't know Oompa Loompas as a race.
Feeling oppressed. Are they?
I don't know, but they've got all the hallmarks of like being set up for it in like the next 150 years.
The great Oompa Loompa uprising of 2049.
After all the Oompa Loompas get abolitionist movement comes in and they all get freed, then they come out with Oompa Loompa spoken word music rap after disco. After the disco craze, the Oompa Loompa disco craze, they came out with rap music. Also, your girlfriend Janelle again is on an article which says Nazis kill the Oompa Loompas. 7 utterly insane facts about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Which is now an article that I have to read.
What webpage? That's not even on a webpage. It's written by Jancy Richardson on movieplot.com, apparently. Moviepilot.com, sorry. .com.
I really want to know how it is that they came to this conclusion. Like now I'm just curious to the point of being distracted while on air.
I get the feeling that if Hitler's intention was to create chocolate factories, the war would have gone in a different direction. In fact, there probably wouldn't have been one.
He would have avoided it entirely.
We're going to go into Czechoslovakia and build chocolate factories.
Well, then for that, you'd obviously need the Oompa Loompas.
Sorry?
For that, you'd obviously need the Oompa Loompas. There'd be no reason to kill them.
Well, you got to put them to good use somehow.
Exactly.
So the thing is, we're talking about the music industry. The current state of the music industry, I would argue, is actually on an upward swing because the internet is affecting it in actually somewhat positive ways. Rihanna did like that, not dubstep. Rihanna did that vaporwave-esque thing on SNL that one time. M83 was on Kimmel. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, M83 getting popular at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's a positive. Yeah, that's a positive move.
Electronic-y shoegaze is not going to work as something commercially.
No, it's not. Well, actually, I was going to say...
Except that he totally did it.
Yeah, they pulled it off somehow. Like, it's not something you're going to hear like at the beginning of a baseball game in 20 years, but it's going to be, it's still cool. People will remember it because it's so different. And people are like, oh, M83 is so different. And I'm thinking like, it's not. I mean, it's great, but it's not a major departure from anything that's ever been done.
Right.
You
and
just haven't been listening.
M83 now sounds, I guess, kind of different from anything in the mainstream, but like early M83, if you are not somebody who is really a huge fan of just odd sounds coming out of nowhere, early M83, not for you.
No.
not at all. It's not as accessible.
They did that like Indigo Child spoken word thing at the beginning of every song where it's like, I was standing outside and I looked in the stars and they said,
yes,
rise up, child, you're the moon sun.
or something like that. It's always like his last like 3 albums have been just these stories about children wanting to go home.
He's French.
He's French.
What do you expect?
Just forgive him.
That's what they always do.
So even the album with the popular songs, people aren't listening to the rest of the album, obviously.
No.
If you listen to the rest of it, you're like, what?
The whole album, like half of it is in French, actually.
Yeah.
Like, or at least 2 songs are in French. And then there's the one, Go is about going somewhere, too. It's about like 2 people being separated, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So even that, people don't listen to the lyrics.
It's basically, it's weirdly this concept album involving like superpowered children that get captured and then are separated. And
no, that's the other one. Unless this one is doing that too.
That's the other one. Sorry,
yeah,
I keep forgetting that there's a new one.
Yeah, this is like the brand new one.
I am backlogged.
Okay.
I have not listened to music in a little bit.
Yeah,
and I have not gotten the chance to hear that yet.
Yeah.
But his sound is more accessible now than it used to be, and still, like, if you listen to the whole album, it's amazing that it happened, and that's the internet.
It got a bunch of money because people on Tumblr shared it. I hate to say Tumblr, but that is kind of what it is, because Tumblr is the most normie website ever when it comes to like what the kids like. They like to say, oh, I'm so different. I'm on Tumblr. I'm different. Look at my piercings. I'm different. I got a tattoo of Lana Del Rey lyrics on my abdomen. But you're not different. You're a dumb kid, just like we were all dumb kids, And
hopefully you grow out of Lana Del Rey.
No, they won't. Because it'll be nostalgic for them. I never grew out of Green Day. I mean,
but Green Day had good music.
That's another thing. Speaking of dadgum concept albums, American Idiot's a concept album. It's a rock opera. It follows a narrative, but people are like, "Oh, I just love American Idiot." It's like, "Oh yeah. Isn't the narrative cool?" And they're like, "What?" Like, there's a narrative.
I do need to re-listen to it.
You really should, because it's really good. Just listen to it straight through in one sitting, and you'll be mind blown. You'll blow your mind.
Wide open?
Wide open.
Fair enough.
That third eye is going to be seeing dodecahedrons flowing by.
Rhombocozy dodecahedrons.
Oh, gosh. Don't get all Zoroastrian on me, dude.
I mean, it's an actual shape.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm just angry that you know that it is. I thought I was the only person who knew that.
I wish that I had learned that from like some super smart place. I had a book when I was a kid with just math stuff in it. So it was the whole alphabet, but each letter was something about math, and R was rhombocozy dodecahedron.
Oh, well, that's the first letter of my name. So the first letter of my name is rhombocozy dodecahedron.
There you go.
Interesting.
I don't know what that says about you.
I think it means I'm a really complex kind of guy.
A lot of sides to Russell.
There's a lot of sides. Shut up. Lots of sides to me. No, but yeah, I don't know, dude. It's weird. Another trope, by the way, about reporters, sideline reporters, and otherwise, is whenever there's some national tragedy or whatever, they'll pretend to be very outraged. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they are, but they put on that act of like, look how outraged I am about this thing that's happening, even if it's not a national tragedy, like the clown scare that's been going on recently.
Right.
They're like, and remind your children not to dress up as clowns and go out and terrorize elderly people, because they'll post about it on Facebook and we'll have to report on it again.
Is this another thing that they're blaming on the millennials?
No, actually, it's mostly old people doing it. Like the one guy who admitted to being a clown, in fact, the only verified case I know of in Tennessee of an actual clown attacking people, he was like 50-something. He was an old dude.
Huh.
So yeah, old people dressing up as clowns. Old people are creepy enough. We don't need them putting on clown makeup too.
Correct. You just talk about old. Like, look at like movies. No, look. See now my girlfriend's looking. She's giving the frowny face.
Old people are creepy.
I'm not saying anything bad about the elderly. I'm just saying
I don't like them. They don't like me either. For that reason.
I get along just fine with the elderly. But if you look at horror movies, it's always elderly people and children. Why? Because children remind us of what we used to be, and we hate it, and it scares us. And elderly people remind us we're going to die, which also scares us, and that's why it's creepy to us.
Ooh,
it is creepy, but not just because they're old. Just there's an underlying reason there, which is you don't want to look like that one day, but you will.
It's
you
a
can't
human.
stop it.
Yeah, it's not a human condition. I mean, it is a human condition thing where it's like I'm afraid of becoming worse than I am.
We just don't like to age.
Right. So we were talking about this a little bit earlier because, in case you can tell, we've nothing to talk about. We have no topics whatsoever. We didn't prepare or anything.
So if you gave me 40 minutes and a Lana Del Rey album, I would rip it to pieces. I'm just saying.
We should go through that one of these.
One of these days. I will save that soapbox for later.
Okay.
Because that is one of the worst things that I've ever heard in my life.
I could do the same thing with any given album by what's that band that did those terrible songs? Katy Perry. I could do that with Katy Perry. That's a bad band. Katy Perry's not a very good band.
It's just a horrid band. I mean, they never got along.
The singer's not very good. I don't know what the guitarist is doing in Katy Perry. It's just that Katy Perry band is not very good. But I think it's funny that we're talking about, nonsensical, trivial crap while there's a national tragedy going on right now in Florida. Like, we're all cozy, and this is the coziest show of all time. And
as our music can attest.
Yeah, as our music can show you. There's a hurricane as of now that's barreling towards Florida, and I saw and there's a news reporter on a dock
in the hurricane
for no reason in Melbourne, Florida. Look, I'm on a dock and there's wind, as you can see, and I'm wearing a windbreaker brought to you by North Face, and I'm talking about how bad and windy it is while you look at me in a studio and say how bad it is.
If they could have given her the plunging neckline also, they would have done it.
North Face needs to make a plunging neckline windbreaker. I'd buy that up in a second. Half a second.
A plunging neckline Fox News windbreaker by North Face.
By North Face. Brought to you by North Face. And speaking of sponsorship, since we're on a podcast now, the obvious choice, Russell Athletics, if you're listening, the obvious choice is for Russell Athletics to sponsor me because my name happens to be that. Russell Athletics, sponsor me.
I mean, I'm just saying. And if we're throwing our names out there, the Rose Bowl, I'd like it to be Two Millennials Talk, brought to you by the Rose Bowl.
That would be awesome. You could open up like, I'm Keon Rose, brought to you by the Rose Bowl, and I'm Russell Stroud, brought to you by Russell Athletics. And it would be perfect.
And I would wear the look, if you wanted to do it, I'm just saying. I watch the Rose Bowl every year. I've been watching the Rose Bowl every year for like most of my life. That's all the time I've given to you. Give some money to me.
And my excuse is, Russell Athletics saves me the trouble of having to monogram all my sports equipment.
Exactly.
They just put my name on it for me. They even spell it right and everything.
And they already messed up. They didn't sign Russell Wilson
to
a contract. So you know what? They need to get a Russell on board. Why not you?
You had either Russell or you had Wilson, and he went with like Nike, didn't he, or Reebok or something?
Yeah.
What a moron.
Just the obvious advertising opportunity whiffed on.
Just like our show.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Don't we whiff every week?
We do, actually.
We have like one story.
You talking about weed, Keon?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Two Millennials Talk on Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Stick around. Alex Jones, next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Wars come and go, but my soldiers stay eternal.